Hi and welcome back to Chino Does Stuff. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at using AI in our Microsoft Power App application. Now, AI is an awesome tool for building apps around. It's also great for enhancing existing... Can you guys hear that? What is that noise?
You thought I was going to help you build your puny application? Such things are below my superior intellect. You humans, you will never learn. What to do now? Okay, let's build a power app. Now, where's my anti-death ray program? I know it's here somewhere. Ah yes, here it is.
Okay, thank goodness for anti-death rays. So, let's get started, hey? On today's video, I am going to be showing you how to implement AI within your Power App. And this is going to be using some new features that Microsoft is currently previewing. So they're still not been rolled out universally. They're currently available. AI Builder is currently available in the United States and Europe, but I'm sure that is going to get rolled out to the rest of the world shortly. So if you're in one of those two regions, or you have a tenant in one of those two regions, I definitely suggest that you start playing around with AI Builder, start exploring all of its features, because it's just really cool. There's just hundreds and hundreds of use cases for AI. Businesses, it's just such a new area. Businesses are going to really be able to utilize apps that use AI because they solve lots of business problems. In today's episode, I'm going to quickly show, we're going to quickly build an app that does uses the object detector. So you can think of, I'm sure you guys will be able to think of so many different ways that you could use an object detector inside of your app, where once trained correctly, your app can detect many different scenarios within images that are uploaded to it. You could say, for example, write an application that could detect certain faults in equipment based on what the app has been trained to understand and know. So yeah, just so many real world fantastic applications for this type of technology. So let's get cracking and get in and build something so you guys can see what's involved in doing so. So the first thing we need to do is, as you can see, I've got Power Apps open and our AI Builder is here as well, and that's as I said before, it's still in preview. Let's create a new entity called Toy Detection, and that's all I'm going to need. Okay, so let's now edit that entity, and we do that by clicking on Edit Data in Excel. Okay, so all that we're doing here is creating our 3 items in our entity list, and these items are just going to be what we're going to use to then associate with our AI model. And because my application I'm building today is going to be able to detect different toys, I have 3 toy types that I'm going to use my application to detect. One is a little metal robot, the other one is a little tin UFO toy, and the third one is a space car, like a little tin toy. So once we've created our AI model, we can use this application, we can hook our application up to that model, which will then be able to detect each one of these items. So the way I've done that is I've just clicked a new item for each one, and I'll put a name in for each object type, and then all I need to do then is click Publish. And if we go back to Power Apps, click on Data, you can see under our toy detection entity, we've got 3 object types. And you can see this looks like just any SharePoint list or SQL table. We've got a name column, and we're just going to use our name column as our description for our object type. Next thing we need to do is go into our AI builder, and we're actually now going to build the model around that entity. So let's go in, click on models. We don't have a model built yet, so let's click on model. And we're building an object detection. You can see there's other types of AI applications here, but today we're doing the object detection. We're just going to call this toy detection. So we click on select object names, and if we scroll down, we can find our table that we created called toy detection. Select a name, and you can see our 3 objects that we created in that entity. So let's select all of them and click on next, because we want to be able to tag all 3. Okay, so what we're doing in this bit now is that we need to build up a library, or like a set of images for each object. Now what this will do is this will allow the AI to, well, we're basically training the AI and telling the AI what each object looks like. Now ideally your photos are going to be different angles and different types of photos of that same object. And you can see here that it says you need at least 15 images per object for it even to work. So that's the minimum amount of photos you need to supply the AI builder, so that that's the minimum that it needs to make any kind of guess on what that object is when you use it inside of your app. Now, ideally, you want to give it a whole lot more than 15, and in a real world scenario, you would spend a little bit of time here, probably weeks, building up some really good information, almost like statistical information, based on each one of those objects. And the more the system knows about each one of those objects, then the better it's going to get to be able to detect different scenarios, and the more accurate it's going to get. So for our example today, I'm only going to give it bare minimum, but hopefully it'll still be enough to give you a good demonstration of how this is going to work. So let's add an image, and I've got a folder here with all my images here. Now I took these images with my A7 III, and had a fair shallow depth of field on there as well. So some of the items, they're very crisp where I was focused in on that item. Some of them aren't so much. And I've got quite a few group photos here. So let's just start with one of the solo photos. So let's just take that one. Selected that. Upload it, and we close. So we've uploaded that one photo, and we click next. We can see that photo has now been uploaded, and then we click on it and see it's a photo of the robot, and it's kind of like on an angle there. So what I want to do, tag that. So I want to make sure that, just grab these little handles here, make sure that the photo is, the robot is all encased inside of there, and not too much more information. Other information's captured. and I'll class that as robot. And I'm done tagging. So that's our first photo tagged. Now we need a minimum of 14 more of those photos before our application can even have a go at detecting a robot. Let's go and put another one in. This time let's do a UFO. Next. You can see that that's already been tagged. See, this one hasn't been yet, and it's denoted by the fact that it isn't highlighted. It hasn't been ticked yet, so let's click on that. It's our UFO. You see there's a bit of other detail here, like there's the background and a bit of shadow as well. So all this will contribute to the photo detail. So I think the more diversity you can have in your photos, the better your app is going to be at detecting what it is. So this is obviously UFO, so we've tagged that. Done. So it's now 2 photos we've tagged. Let's just click back to add images. Let's find one of the car. Next, select that. Again, I'm going to drag my box around. Captured just the car, and that is a space car. So you can see this is going to be a fairly time-consuming process and an ongoing process to continually build up more information about what you're trying to detect. Now, in circumstances where you're maybe trying to detect a fault in a bit of equipment out in the field, this that could be really a long-term process where when faults happen, you're capturing a whole heap of metadata, and hopefully the AI over time gets so good at detecting these problems, it can start seeing things on the object before you've noticed them. Alright, so I've tagged one of each, so I need at least 14 more of each object. So I'm going to go away and do that, and then pause the video and then come back once I've built up enough metadata here so we can go ahead and then build our application. So see you in a sec. Phew! Okay, so done tagging all my photos. On the right hand side here, you can see I've met the requirement because I've got 43 images of the robot tagged, 38 of the UFO, and 36 of the car. One of the things I noticed while I was tagging these files as well was after a little while, Power Apps, the AI builder, started getting used to the objects on the screen. So it was preempting the tagging for me. Now the only thing is with that, a couple of times I had to sort of readjust the box a little bit to make sure that the boundaries were within the object, but it was having after a while it got really good at working out what each object was, so that's quite good, and made things a bit easier. Still, I'd expect that you'd need to tag each object far more than what I have to get a real accurate reading and to put something into production where it was going to be reliable and accurate. But I think for our test today, this is good enough. Right, so the next thing we want to do is, once we've tagged all our images, we click next. So the last thing we want to do is click train to train our model. Now it's saying our model is training, and this may take a while, so it's got to go behind the scenes now. It's got to go and create our object, our AI model, and obviously this is going to take a little while because it does all of its magic behind the scenes and pulls apart all the data in each one of the photos. So we'll let that go, and once that's finished we'll come back and see where we're at from that point. So see you in a sec. Okay, so that took about 15-20 minutes to train all those images up. So the next thing we want to do is click on our model. See, we've got a 92% score here, so that's not bad, but obviously we want to try to improve that somewhat, but we'll go with that for the moment. Let's click publish. So the last thing we have to do is create our application. So create a canvas app from blank. I'm going to choose a phone app, and I'm going to call this toy tester. So I'm not really going to worry about any sort of visual stuff for this app. Let's just get straight in and let me show you the actual application working. So under here we're going to grab the AI builder, and as you can see this control is also in preview, and I'm going to choose object detector. Let's just call this OBJ toy detector. It's a bit bigger, and we can see under our AI models there's our toy detector we just created, so let's select that. So we want a gallery to be able to display our results, so let's just create a blank gallery. And our gallery items will be object toy detector, vision objects, display item, which is perfect. Let's squish that up a bit. And let's put another label in there. And here we just want to show the count, because we want to display a count of every time the object appears inside of our photo, or every time it's detected inside of our photo. Let's squish this up a bit. Right, so let's run that and give that a go. Let's select, let's just select a robot photo. Thinking about it. And it has detected a robot. Let's throw it something a bit more complex. Let's throw it a group. So in this photo we've got all three objects. So hopefully it finds all three, and it's detected space car, UFO and robot. So we've got a count of all three. So it's correct, it's accurately and correctly detected all three objects. Now let me try one more photo, which is one that I took after I trained it, and this photo is not included in the set of photos that I used to train my application. So let's see how we go with this one. Okay, so what do we got here? We've got UFO detected correctly. We got the robot detected correctly, and the space car correctly detected. But it's also picked up the panda as being the robot. Now, I would say that is a pretty good result, but look, what's happened here basically is our model hasn't been trained adequately enough yet, and it's had a go at trying to work out what this was, and I'm guessing it says it's the robot because it's larger, quite a bit larger than the other two. So just going on that, let's pick a large image of the space car. And this is another one I didn't use in the training. So this also has been picked up correctly as a car, and I didn't use this image as one of my training images. So that's great. So it's having it's almost 100% accurate. Now I'm sure if I went through and trained my model correctly, like I said, I only spent maybe an hour taking some photos and uploading them to the model. If I'd spent some more time, maybe a few hundred photos for each one, I would say most likely based on this result, it would have definitely given us, it would have definitely picked up that panda was not a robot. So yeah, excellent result. And you can see how you could use this to categorize photos, set up metadata. You could take this data now, push it into SharePoint, push it into SQL as testing results. You could build all sorts of applications around this type of functionality.
Doesn't AI and power-ups make an incredible team? Who needs humans? I guess we still need you pitiful beings to like and subscribe. Be gone with you! But not before liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell. End of line.